fans go in supporting him.
Yeah, and I see a question in the chat talking about asking about the departure of Mike Leach and how that affects WSU. I think the way Nick Rolovich has come in and kind of just taken over and been that social media and that interesting personality that Leach was, I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten about him and are ready to move on. I think people got tired of kind of seeing the same thing over and over again, and so I think it's a good time to bring something new. And going off of that, this gives Nick Rolovich time to start building something new. If a season played in 1 month and he had to start practicing now, that's a month to install. He's been installing a system over Zoom and all that, but with really getting on the field, a bunch of players he doesn't know, a new system they don't know, and a team that was going to be competitive, but went, 6-6 before the bowl game last year. Like, they were not this great team that was in the top 25 a few years ago. This may have been, a bad season for him. If they missed a bowl game in his first year, the fans wouldn't have liked that. So now, if he gets a year to build his team and to come in his first year with some of his own recruits, which he wouldn't have this year, with some of his own players, this gives him time to really build up this team to be the team that he wanted to be, and not the team that he took over and just kind of had to pilot the ship.
I mean, just to build off that, Cody, Leach, as great of a coach as he was for WSU, and he took us to many, many high places with his air raid offense. You brought it up already. The 6-6 season before the bowl game, which I'll be honest, the bowl game was an embarrassment to watch already, based off the name, the Cheez-It Bowl, which is probably about the lamest bowl game name I've probably ever heard. But we allowed Oregon State to score 50 plus points on us last year. Sure, we scored a point extra that game because we're throwing 1,000 passing yards a game, but it's not that hard to pick up on Mike Leach's offense in the Pac-12 when we've had Apple Cup struggles for however long, and we have UW coaches talking smack to Mike Leach, and Mike Leach making headlines because he's talking about pirates and this and that. It as much as it was great to watch him coach, as much as it was great to have him, on the shoe and the Luke Falk era, I think we're over it. I agree with you, Cody. Rolovich brings a great personality to this school. I mean, the guy was wearing a bunch of what are those, the flower necklace, the leis, right? He's wearing leis on the sideline, screaming his head off during Hawaii games. I want to see him do that in Pullman. I want to see him bring that energy to WSU. We're used to having that great presence in the coach department for all. As much of a meme as Mike Leach was, I think Rolovich has a great pedestal to go off of and take us to further and greater places.
Mm-hmm. And this obviously all depends on how good Nick Rolovich does and what type of production he brings to this team. Because if he kind of struggles out of the gate like a lot of coaches before Leach did, then people are going to be begging for Mike Leach back. If he can't get to those same heights that Leach did. And Leach was a quarterback whisperer. I mean, he pulled Gardner Minshew from about to be a backup and Anthony Gordon off of being a backup at WSU for years. People sort of came to expect that from WSU. Nick Rolovich may be able to do the same thing. Hawaii was a great passing offense as well, but it's not going to be more of the same. That could be good, that could be bad. The defense may be better. The defense was pretty bad the past couple of years. With
very bad.
So it doesn't take much to be better, but we just have to see what that is, because the unknown is good because it could be great. Nick Rolovich could lead WSU to a national championship. We know Mike Leach didn't. So for those reasons, and I think with that, if he has a whole year to just develop his players, especially if they are granted, if he doesn't lose any for eligibility, then I think that's going to be huge. And I think he could have a great first year.